Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, everyone, in this video, we are going to talk about the concept of English for specific purposes. The concept of English for specific purposes here will be divided into three parts. The first one is the definition of ESP. The second one is about the differences between general English and also ESP. And the last one, we are going to talk about the areas of ESP. So, without further ado, let's get started. The definition of ESP, actually there are so many experts that propose the definition of this subject or this topic. In general, English for specific purposes can be defined as a subset of English as a second or maybe as a foreign language, and it is usually refers to teaching the English language to advanced students, for example in university level, or people who are already in employment. With reference to the particular vocabulary and skills they need. And also, as with any language taught for specific purposes, a given course of ESP will focus on one occupation or profession. For example, the technical students will need a technical English lesson, and also medical students will need an English for medical professionals subject, and the students or the waiters maybe will need an English for waiters subject, and also English for tourism if the employee is from the tourism field or job. So it is more focused on the learner's needs. Okay, let's see the definition of English for specific purposes defined by several experts. The first one is from Hutchinson. He said that ESP is an approach to language teaching in which all decisions as to content and method are based on learners' reason in learning. So it means that Hutchinson said that English for specific purposes refers to the language teaching in which the content, the methodology, the activities during the teaching or teaching and learning process are fully based on the learner's reason in learning. And the second one is the definition from Robinson. He said that ESP is an enterprise involving education, training, and practice, and drawing upon three major realisms of knowledge, namely language, pedagogy, and student specialist area of interest. Robinson said that there are three measures of realism in ESP. It involves education, training, and practice. During the education, the students will get trained and also will get practice according or based on their need and also their specialist of area of interest. And the third one is the definition from Richard and Roger. He said that ESP is a movement that seeks to serve the language needs of learners who need English in order to carry out specific roles. Untuk specific roles, peran tertentu. For example, if the students want to be an engineer, so they need an ESP subject. For example, English for engineers and also English for nurse, for example, if they want to be a nurse in their career. And who need to acquire content and real-world skills through the medium of it rather than master the language for its own sake. acquire content and real world skills. So Robinson said that also training and practice in ESP. Richard also said real world skills. Real world skills mean the students need to practice based on the activities in a real world condition. And then it is beyond the master the language for its own sake. So they have to practice not only to master the language but also to practice the activities based on the real world. Stevens explained 4 variables and about the definition of ESP. The first one is designed to meet specific needs of learners. The second one is related to content. The third one is centered on the language appropriate to activities. And the last one is differentiated to general English. Okay, let's see them one by one. The first one is designed to meet specific needs of learners, of course. English for specific purposes is designed to meet the needs of the learners. For example, the students in hotel, the students who have a career in hotel, they need to take subject of English for hotel. So why they need to take English for hotel subject? Since their career lead them to work in a hotel. The second one is related to content. Since the ESP is meet the specific needs of learners, it should relate it to the content. The students who take English for hotel, the subject of ESP should relate with the term or the subject related with hotel, for example. And also, the students in a hotel need to learn English, need to be able to communicate using English in oral form. Jadi siswa perhotelan mereka mengambil mata pelajaran English for hotel, for example, or the subject of English for hotel untuk mampu berkomunikasi menggunakan bahasa Inggris secara oral dan secara aktif terkait dengan daily activity hotel, lingkup pelayanan di hotel. Jadi tujuan utamanya adalah untuk meningkatkan kemampuan tata bahasa dan komunikasi mereka sehingga dapat mendukung peningkatan pelayanan bisnis di hotel. Nah, jadi mungkin kontennya dan juga language appropriate to activities dalam English for Hotel ini seperti contohnya greeting and self-introduction, karena nanti mereka akan melayani tamu hotel. Lalu ada juga telepon courtesy. Mereka akan kerjanya nanti akan berkomunikasi lewat telepon. Jadi mereka harus tahu how to communicate in English to a visitor through the phone. And then also general services at hotel and direction general inquiries at hotel will have related to the hotel activities. For example, they will have a conversation or a practice in form of a role play. Jadi siswa yang mengambil subjek English for hotel akan fokus untuk melakukan kegiatan bahasa Inggris yang terkait dengan kegiatan perhotelan. Contohnya kegiatan conversation dalam bentuk role play atau practice the conversation. Jadi activitiesnya akan lebih sesuai dengan targetnya tadi, lebih sesuai dengan students need. And the last one is differentiated to general English. So English for specific purposes is different with general English. In a general English, the students just learn about the language, master the language for its own sake. But in English for specific purposes, it is designed for the learners to approach or to reach the students' need. Okay, the last definition is from Dudley Evans. He differentiated the definition of English for specific purposes into two characteristics. The first one is absolute characteristic and the second one is a variable characteristic. In absolute characteristic, it is meet the specific needs. It is not much different with what Stevens proposed before. It is also makes use of underlying methodology and activities, and it is also centered on the language appropriate to the activities. Tidak jauh berbeda dengan definisi dari ESP yang dipaparkan oleh Stevens tadi. Dia juga meet specific needs, juga menggunakan appropriate activities centered to the language. And in variable characteristic, ESP should relate it to or design for a specific discipline. Students in a hotel or nurse field should learn about English related to their discipline. And the second one is used in specific teaching situation, different from general English. And also it is designed for intermediate or advanced students. Designed for intermediate or advanced students. It means that students in a university level or the students who after graduated they will get a job. Jadi ESP itu dirancang untuk siswa tingkat intermediate atau advance karena setelah tamat nanti mereka akan masuk ke dunia kerja. And the last one is assume some basic knowledge of language system. Jadi di dalam ESP juga mempelajari tentang basic knowledge about language system tapi lebih fokus kepada students need tadi. Let's come to the general English and ESP differentiation. In general English, the students concentrated more on language in general. They may master 4 skills and listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and also vocabulary or grammar. But in ESP, they more concentrated on the requirements or their need or their goal oriented. Jadi dalam kelas ESP mungkin saja siswa tidak perlu menguasai 4 skill atau semua skill yang dalam bahasa Inggris. Mereka mungkin hanya butuh untuk meningkatkan kemampuan atau skill mereka di 2 skill saja. Contohnya dalam English for Hotel, kelas English for Hotel mereka tidak akan butuh banyak penjelasan atau materi dalam materi reading ya, tapi mereka lebih ditekankan untuk bisa berbicara to optimize their speaking skill karena tujuannya adalah mereka ingin bisa melakukan percakapan bahasa Inggris terkait dengan topik hotel atau make a conversation in making reservation in a hotel, for example. In general English, they also use literary text to produce effectual skills in students. Jadi dalam kelas reading itu mereka bisa saja menggunakan teks literary untuk meningkatkan kemampuan mereka dalam berbahasa Inggris. Dan dalam ESP, time determined by the goal of learner's need. What does it mean? Dalam kelas ESP, mungkin dalam waktu 3 bulan atau beberapa bulan, siswa dituntut untuk bisa meningkatkan meningkatkan kemampuan mereka dalam berbahasa Inggris dalam kelas, mungkin karena misalnya dalam kelas English for Hotel tadi, dalam 3 bulan ke depan mereka diharapkan sudah bisa terjun ke lapangan untuk mempraktekkan kemampuan bahasa Inggris mereka yang mereka pelajari di kelas ESP. In order to make you easier to understand about the areas of ESP, here there are 3 scenarios related to the areas of ESP. The example of English for academic purposes or EAP, English for professional purposes or EPP, and the last one is English for occupational purposes or EOP. Okay, let's see them one by one. The first one is English, the example of English as academic purposes. Okay, let me read the scenario. Daria graduated in teaching English as a foreign language in Turkey and almost immediately gained employment in one of the large state cities in which English is used as the medium of instruction. Most students at Daria's university spend a year in a preparatory school studying an intensive English language program prior to starting study of subject in their departments. Daria has taught on the intensive program for a number of years. Recently, the engineering faculty at the university expanded its doctoral program. The faculty, however, realized that the doctoral students' lack of English was hampering their studies, and it was decided that a special English language program to help the postgraduate students with reading and writing engineering research reports needed to be set up. Daria, whose brother is completing his doctoral studies in the engineering faculty, was requested to set up a suitable ESP course for the engineering students on the doctoral program. So we can see that in this situation, the doctoral students are lack of English, and it is hampering their studies. So the university decided that a special English language program to help them related with skills in reading and writing engineering research report. Jadi di sini bahasa Inggris untuk tujuan akademis awalnya bermula karena mahasiswa program doktoral memiliki kelemahan dalam bidang bahasa Inggris. Jadi kelemahan tersebut menghambat mereka ketika belajar di program doktoral tersebut. Jadi universitas memutuskan untuk membuat sebuah program pengajaran bahasa Inggris untuk siswa postgraduate students terkait dengan skill reading dan writing engineering research report. Jadi di sini hanya memfokus kepada pengajaran reading dan writing research report, dan ini bisa membantu mereka untuk melanjutkan atau lancar dalam kuliah program doktoral mereka. Nah, ini contoh English for academic purposes. See the second example, the second scenario in areas of ESP. It is English for professional purposes. Professional, this is the academic one, this is the professional purposes. Okay, let's read it. Alison began her teaching career teaching French in the secondary school sector in New Zealand. A number of years later, due to falling enrollments in European languages in secondary schools, Alison started teaching English as a second language in a tertiary college. She taught intermediate level learners there for some years and then began to also conduct classes for immigrants, focusing on settling in skills such as job applications, dealing with administrative inquiries, and so on. One day, her director of studies called her in to tell her that the college was to introduce a course called English for Medical Doctors. The students would be recently arrived immigrant doctors who needed to appear for medical registration examinations and English language tests to enable them to work as general practitioners in the country. Allison was asked to prepare and teach the course. So, in this situation, Allison were asked to teach an immigrant doctors. So the students are the doctors who need to appear for medical registration to work as a general practitioners in the country. Jadi siswa dalam English for Professional Purposes di sini sudah punya pekerjaan yaitu sebagai dokter professional. They have a professional job, but in order to follow the medical registration examination, and one of the tests is English, so and they want to be a general practitioners in the country, they need to follow the English for professional purposes. Mereka butuh pembelajaran bahasa Inggris untuk tujuan profesional, untuk meningkatkan kemampuan profesional mereka di bidang medical atau doctoral. Nah, ini adalah the example of English as a professional purposes. Let's see the last example, English for occupational purposes. Estelle found that after teaching primary school in New Zealand for a number of years, she needed a change of direction. She wanted to work abroad and teach adults. She studied for a diploma in TESOL, during which she took a course in ESP. Following her graduation, Estelle found a job in a 2-year vocational college. The first course Estelle was assigned to teach was English for Office Management. The course had only been running 1 year, and Estelle was told she would need to prepare no new instructional material as there was insufficient course material, course content. The students on this course were between 18 and 20 years old and were hoping to gain employment in international companies after they returned to their home countries. Alongside English, the students were studying word processing, spreadsheets, and office administration. In English for occupational purposes, Estelle teach the students that were hoping to gain employment in international companies after they return to their home countries. Jadi di sini Estelle mengajarkan bahasa Inggris untuk siswa dengan rentangan umur antara 18 sampai 20 tahun. Dan setelah program English for Occupational Purpose di sini, mereka diharapkan bisa kembali ke kampung halaman dan bekerja di international companies. Jadi mereka butuh skill terkait dengan English for Office Management seperti word processing, spreadsheets, and also office administration. Jadi English for Occupational Purposes di sini adalah tujuannya adalah terkait dengan siswa nantinya akan butuh bahasa Inggris untuk dalam pekerjaan mereka. Nah, untuk vocational di sini contohnya adalah vocational college. This is the table about the branch of ESP, the sub-branches and also example. English for academic purposes, there are the 2 sub-branches here. English for general academic purposes and specific academic purposes. For example, English for academic writing and English for law studies. And the second one is English for professional purposes. Juga terbagi 2 di sini, general purpose, professional purposes and specific professional purposes. For example, English for the healthcare sector, and English for nursing. And the last one is English for occupational purposes. There are also two sub branches here: general occupational purposes and specific occupational purposes. For example, English for the hospitality industry, and as the specific one, it is English for hotel receptionist. Dirimetik 3. This is the questions. The first one is explain the definition of ESP based on your own understanding. And the second one is re-explain the differences between general English and ESP. Give examples. The third one is read the following scenario and decide in what branch of ESP area it is. So this is the scenario, and then you decide in what branch of ESP it is belongs to. So the answer of this quiz is submitted in e-learning platform for meeting 3. Okay, that's all of the explanation about the concept of ESP. I hope you understand the material well. And then thank you for watching. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.